I'm like, why am I learning this on tests?
It's
like
easier, maybe.
essays. You could just chat GPT how to do this essay.
What are your thoughts about money?
Money is life.
Hey, I've reached to this amount in life and like I'm good.
What
like,
is that number in your head right now?
300 million.
That's sad.
My opinion. Have to make money. Rolex is like the standard, the
like
basic.
Do you feel like the education system is broken? Like what they teach you versus...
Why am I learning pre-calculus or whatever?
I use it here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lying. He's lying. Welcome back to another episode of Elevate. My name is Jessica.
My name is Darwin.
And today we have a Gen Z in the house.
Okay.
We have Eddie Vasquez, my little brother, okay, AKA Eddie Vasquez in the house. And we're going to get to know him a little bit. We're going to talk to him. Like I said, he is my little brother, but he is not a little kid anymore. He just graduated high school.
He's like, put some respect on my age.
He just graduated high school. Congratulations. I'm very proud of you. You decided you want to go on to college. I'm proud of you for choosing that. I wanted to personally ask you, did you feel any type of pressure to have to go to college because both of your other siblings went to college? Or did you really just decided maybe that's what you should be doing? You didn't feel pressured at all?
I did not feel pressure. Like, my mind went onto, like, autopilot, and that just, went straight through. I didn't feel forced to go to college.
Because we went?
Yeah. And, like, morally, like, I would want to go, especially, like, first-generation American. I would like to go to college.
Because, it does feel like an accomplishment when you have parents who come from another country here to give you a better life. But, nowadays, especially Generation Z and I guess younger. I guess for some of you guys, it might not seem, some of you guys might not really want to go to college. So that's why I asked, like, did you feel pressured, like, that you had to go? Because for me, it was like no choice. I didn't really think about it. It was more like, this is what I have to do. I was the first one, so I didn't even have an example. So I just had to go with whatever my mentors told me in school. And back then, it was just, college was like, if you want to be successful, you have to go to college. Now the conversations are kind of changing a little bit, and it's more like, it's your choice. And if you don't go, it's not really that you're not a loser, but you need to have a plan.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
But that's good. You decided to go, you're going to Lehman College, right?
And we putting his info out there.
So what?
What if he don't want to know where people going? Where he's going?
People to know?
No, it's fine. I don't really care. Not that they're gonna stalk me at Lehman.
Like, I
Never
don't
know.
They're not gonna know what his schedule is like. It's not like high school.
Yeah.
What did you decide to go for?
Business management.
Business management.
Was that a harder decision than actually picking a school, like your major? Or you was just like, nah, I'm doing business period?
It was really hard, honestly.
To choose?
I always knew that I wanted to do something in business. I love business. But, like last minute, you start overthinking about stuff that you want to do. Like, I don't know. Oh, I want to be a cop or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, I know. I totally get
it. So, like, especially thinking about that this might be the career path that you choose for, like, your rest of your life.
Right. It's like pressure.
Yeah, so.
But I want to tell you that it's not that serious. Yeah. You're still like at the beginning stages of discovering what you really want to do with your life. And although I know when you're in that stage, it might feel like I can't mess this up, you're fine. Yeah. Like, you're just starting to live your life, and it's okay. Sometimes, we go into college thinking this is what I want to do. And when you get there, you start taking these courses and you realize, maybe that's not really what I want to do. And it's okay to change your mind. Like, don't feel like, oh my God, I already chose this. This is what I have to stick with. Like, you're so young. Time is on your side. Like, the biggest benefit you have is that you have a lot of time. So don't feel so pressured to have to know it all now, because you don't have to. I think that you should already feel proud that you got through high school. We come from a neighborhood that isn't necessarily the best. And so for me, even accomplishing high school is an accomplishment. We don't come from wealthiness. We don't come from, like the best neighborhoods, because, we just can't afford that. And so for me, just graduating high school and even deciding to go to college is a win. So I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you.
And even if you had not decided to, I would have been proud of you. I just, would have always pushed you to just have a plan. Obviously, it's not okay to just sit on your behind and do nothing with your life because, everybody has so much potential. So good for you. Good for any path you decide to take. I'm here and we're going to support you.
So why business?
I don't know. Like, I feel like I have a little businessman inside me. Like, I can see myself doing business. But actually,
So then you do know. Don't
Yeah.
ever say
he has a little
no,
spark.
because you say I don't know why business. You do know why.
Yeah,
You-
I do know
You know why
why.
because you want to do business.
that's what I see myself doing. I don't see myself becoming anything else but business
Okay.
or a business job.
So don't question that. When somebody asks you why, you say because I want to be a business owner.
Yeah.
I want to be a businessman. That's not a bad. I think that's not a bad career path because everything is business. Whether you decide in the long run that you don't want to be a business owner, let's say, everything is business.
Yeah.
So anything you decide to get into has business involved. So that's a really good start.
That's
in my
why I
opinion.
picked business management instead of doing like a course on entrepreneurship, where it's about like you and you gaining your business. Business management course, you're basically gaining your own someone else's business. You're taking care of their business, and at the same time, I feel like that's also helping you
Absolutely.
in the long run. 'Cause
Absolutely.
you're able to manage your own business. too.
Absolutely. Even on a personal finance level, it's important. So
Yeah.
that's a great choice.
I was thinking about strategy there.
For sure.
Strategy.
Look at you. Okay. That's my brother. Okay. Okay. So you told us what you're planning to study. I wanted to ask you, since you have graduated high school and you spent 4 years there, I know our generations can differ a little bit because of when you guys were born and how you guys got into technology rather
Yeah.
than us. Like we were born without the technology and then technology came to our life. You kind of were born into technology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2005. Yeah,
For
technology was already existing.
It wasn't at its best, but it was
Right,
okay.
but it was
Nah,
already
shit was the
there.
best.
It was already there. Like you don't understand when we were in high school, when we were in school in elementary, like computers were around, but it was like I think we were probably
2005
4.
was like Sidekick, Nextel era.
Yeah, because I graduated in
The greatest era of all
2008.
time.
I,
Oh my gosh, I was like 2 or 3.
right. That's insane. Stop it.
Do you know what's AIM?
No.
Oh my god,
What is
guys! That
AIM
was,
is like
that was instant messenger back then.
yeah,
So it was like the texting of back then.
yeah.
I know of Kick, but not that well.
The
Kick?
Sidekick.
No,
Oh.
Kick, like the app or whatever it was. I just heard of it.
Oh, I don't know
Nah,
about
it has to
Kick.
be Sidekick. It's probably Sidekick.
Oh, I know the Sidekick. That
Yeah.
Psychic
that
was the
crazy.
phone.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I had one which I got robbed for, but anyways, I digress.
For real.
Anyways. Where was I going with this?
Generations.
So how do you feel? Do you feel like the technology impacted your high school years in any way?
Not really. Just
Really?
not me. A lot of people cheated in high school. Like
Oh, really?
on tests, on
It's
like
easier, maybe?
essays. You could just chat GPT how to do this essay. Yeah, not me.
How
No
was
way.
How was that when ChatGPT came out? Because that was probably last year that it kind of blew up. Was it like instant that you saw it in school that people was just
yeah.
like jumping on it?
Yeah, and they're like, "Yo, I use chat GPT for my essay."
I mean, I used ChatGPT. We use ChatGPT for a lot of things.
Yeah, but you're not at
So-
school.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. But I've always wondered about that because it's like with all this technology, how do you prevent a child from cheating?
There's actually websites.
Yeah. Well, now they have like teachers have like other AI that detect AI. And also like AI right now, the way it's writing is like you can tell like, all right, this is a little bit too robotic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting better with time, but you can kind of tell like like, Eddie, hey, I know you don't write like this. You've been writing the whole year, and this came out, and you're like the
using
influential. Yeah. Let's embrace in this essay of, but yeah, let's go back.
That's hilarious.
Do you think that they will eventually incorporate being able to use AI in schools the way it's going, or teachers right now are just like, no way?
I feel like teachers right now are very against it, but I feel like in the future, they're gonna look at it as like another Google, like something like as a resource. Unless if you just got your essay straight from copy and paste, but I feel like they're gonna let you use it as like a guide,
a reference.
Yeah,
maybe.
reference. Yeah, for sure.
I think when all these teachers like age out, like out of retirement,
there's
I think
gonna come the new set of teachers.
Not even the one that's coming. I think the one after this one, like there's one that's gonna retire, and then the ones that retire after that, this one, are gonna kind of change slowly the education system.
The only thing I kind of makes me question whether that's a good idea is the fact that, like, where will critical thinking be left? Like, before you had to really put thought into everything, because even Google wasn't that.
No, but the thing is that people think it doesn't, but it does require it. AI is just like a tool, because if you just say, hey, give me a answer for what's the best restaurant, let's say, right? It will say, oh, whatever, such and such. But you say, hey, if you prompt it correctly, like, hey, I want the best restaurant within a 5-mile radius that serves Spanish food, like, you still have to put thought for it to give you the best answer possible. So if you can't even put thought into it, it's not going to give you a good answer. It's going to give you a Google answer.
Yeah,
much.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
I guess.
Even like AI that's doing, like, they're saying like, oh, AI is going to replace photographers and all that because you could just do prompts on. But it's like you still have to have a creative mentality to be able to say, hey, replace this stool with,
something
like an overlay or something.
You have
like
to
that.
have a imagination.
So it's
That's
like,
a good point.
Now if you are a creator or you're in school and you don't adapt and start using these softwares, you will be left behind. Because it's like the people who didn't adapt to social media, like, look at social media now. Everybody's trying to play catch up.
I always say using AI is like using a different part of your brain that's not integrated physically to your brain, because you have so many resources. It's just like, imagine going your whole entire life without using Google. Probably near impossible, because the first thing you do is, oh, let me Google this.
Yeah,
let
that's
me
for
Google
sure.
that.
It's
Right
not even
now.
search. It's like, let me Google. Like,
Yeah,
Google
let
is
me
the
Google,
is the
really.
definition for search.
For real. It became the definition for search. For sure.
So that, like, ChatGPT would be like a Google on steroids.
Basically, yeah.
I just hope this doesn't make our generations coming up less, I don't know how to say that, like less
No critical thinking. Just
on
the spot.
like will this make the generations coming lazier to use their brain?
I don't think so. I think it's gonna make them more productive. Like,
You're able to
time-
get stuff fast.
yeah, time is money. So it's like, if you're in a business and you're there, like, damn, I need to write this Excel sheet for a thing, and you be like, all right, hey, ChatGPT, build me out this Excel from quarter 1 to quarter 2. Like, what was my loss? What was my profit?
You're able to focus on something else. Yeah.
Instead of like you sitting there on like doing an Excel.
Great point. But I wanted to bring that up because I know I'm not the only one who thinks that. Like, I've also read other parents, maybe even folks that are much older than I am, like, concerned about those things. Like, how much technology is too much technology to the point where it makes a person, let's say, quote unquote, dumb, where they're not using their brain. But that's a good point.
I don't think you could be dumb to use technology.
And it's also how you were raised. Like, if the whole entire time you were in the education system, you had to write your essays, you already have that, like, mentality in your mind, like, engraved. It's just later on when you're working and you start, like, basically what he was saying, that's when it's like, well, you still have that smartness in your
Do you feel like the education system is broken? Like, what they teach you versus, I mean, you haven't really came out to the real life, but you guys do have way more information now with YouTube and seeing like, hey, this is actually what life is like. We didn't have any. We was just like, all right, the rich people are the rich people. We can't get there because we broke, and it is what it is.
Our guidance was school. Like, our guidance counselors, our teachers, like we just followed the path that they told us we had to follow. We didn't really question anything. There was nothing really to search for. Like we didn't have those tools. So do you feel, or maybe your classmates have felt like the education system has failed you?
I feel like this might be controversial.
All right, go ahead.
We like
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the education system kills creativity.
Oh, for sure.
Like you're basically being put in this box, and whoever leaves the box becomes rich and successful. Like if you think about something creative, but I feel like the education system puts someone like on a route and expects everyone to follow it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's wrong. I don't really much agree with that, but and I actually came to that realization because one time in math class, you know, I was sitting.
This one time in math class.
Yeah, I was sitting. I'm like, why am I learning this? Why am I learning pre-calculus or whatever?
I use it here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lying. He's lying.
But I realized that it's not about the math itself. It's about like the problem solving skill. It's about like learning something new fast. That's what it is about. Which is something that like it blew my mind.
Yeah, like that part might be useful, but technically
not the math itself.
Yeah,
it's
because
the
unless you become,
can they can figure out a different way? Like,
yeah,
hey, how do I transfer my 401k to a Roth? Figure that out.
We like our generation now, right? That now we're like in our early 30s, late 20s. We have realized that the education system failed us. Most of us. That this is what we say. Because there's a lot of things that you need to learn as an adult that isn't really taught in school. Like they don't really teach you about banking. They don't really teach you
it's
about.
It's funny you say that because now in my school, before, we have government and economics. So the first part of the year, you learn about economics. I'm in government, so like the U.S. Constitution, whatever. And then the second part, you learn about economics, where they teach you about banking. What's the best credit card for high schoolers or college students?
Is that something that they recently incorporated, or it was?
Well, I could only speak from my experience, but I guess so.
It has to be something.
About ways you could
is that
legal
was
system.
Is that was that on your last year or all throughout high school?
Last year.
Okay. Your last year.
So like it's preparing you for.
Oh, that's
life.
great.
So just like the basics. I feel like they do teach, like where to get a credit card, maybe like when you're going off to college. No,
I don't remember. To be
honest,
honest, I don't remember. I don't think I had enough of that because I don't remember that being a class for me, like those things being a class for me. But
I think it's being more forced on now by
sure.
Like social media. Like I think they're realizing like, hey, we do need to.
People are not liking the curriculums that are in schools. You know, they need to kind of catch up a little bit with times and stop being so one-dimensional, because every kid isn't the same and every kid isn't going to go off to the world and be the same. So, there's certain things that just make no sense to spend so much time teaching a child.
Yeah, we actually learn about tax write-offs in my class. Yeah, like for those business people that want to like do tax write-offs.
Mm-hmm.
What did they teach you? I'm interested. Like not like your whole class for the year, but
what do you want to know?
What's a good tax write-off? What can I write off?
Like, let's say you're going to buy a new camera or whatever. Let's say you go to Best Buy, you print out this form, and you give out the form to the employee or whatever, and it means that you're exempt from that tax. So like the camera product, that's exempt from taxes, which is actually pretty useful because I was thinking about using it for.
Well,
I don't think you can. You're not. I don't think every business is exempt from every product. For example, like when I was doing the build out of the studio, like Home Depot and Lowe's offer like tax exemption, but I wasn't like, I had to be like a nonprofit, a church, or like I think a big construction company owner to be like tax exempt. So I think I can write off a camera. I know that for sure because it's part of my job, but I won't be tax exempt. I can probably write off the depreciation of it, but not just say like, hey, I'm not going to pay taxes because I'm a creator. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, but at least they know
At least they, like,
the
brushed it
idea
up,
of even a tax write-off. Because
And by
to
the
be
way, just
honest,
like-
when I graduated high school, I knew nothing about tax write-offs.
By
I
the
really
way,
didn't.
I'm not a tax professional,
Yeah.
so
None of us are professionals. We're just here having a conversation.
I'm a fucking professional, just not a tax professional. Question: what are your thoughts about money? Like how? Because millennials and your parents are what? A boomer?
A boomer.
And Gen Z have very different views on money.
Relationship with
So
money.
right now there's this wave of younger people that, let's say they have a job and they don't like the boss, they don't like how they feel, they're just like, forget this, I'll just figure it out. Meaning that, like, for us, that was like big, like, damn,
That was like a
this is
no-no.
like all my income. Now people are just like, I'll just figure it out, I'll just go live.
Even though
So-
I was a little rebel, to be honest, in that sense.
But what are your thoughts on money, and like, do you think is the end all be all? Like, how do you look at money?
I feel like people started thinking about life like that after COVID, when a lot of people were quitting their jobs. That's how they were like, you know what, like, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. It doesn't
It's not
really
that
matter.
serious.
Yeah.
that part is true.
But the way how I look at it, I feel like money is life. Like, you know, not that you should.
Ronan right now, Ronan is watching this and he's like,
Yeah.
that's my boy. Nah.
Not saying that you have to, like, you know,
I get it.
but like that money provides you everything. Food, everything, like literally everything.
Yeah.
It can't, some might say it provides you happiness. Cannot, my opinion. But only temporary happiness.
It temporary happiness.
Yes,
That's
for
exactly, you hit it on the nail, right on the nail, because
I
it
disagree.
can
Wow.
give you temporary happiness, but if you don't have love, if you don't have friends, if you don't have a knit tight community,
There's a lot of billionaires.
you
know,
will
really-
be miserable. You will be depressed. You could be happy the first couple of days you get that big mansion, but when you have no one to share that mansion with, it's sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, money along with the friendships and love.
Yeah, along with relationships.
I don't mean
I
just,
think money and relationships are the most valuable things.
After a
Money
while,
and
that
relationships.
Ferrari's gonna feel like a Honda Civic.
For sure,
So it's
because
not gonna
you
make
get
you
used to
happy.
it. You get
Yeah,
used to it.
for sure.
Everything in life, even a house. Let's say you buy this beautiful home, but after a couple months, it becomes old to you because you're there every day.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, I'm not saying do not strive for those things because they're lovely to have. And it's nice to have money security. It's nice to have relationships, and it's nice to have health. Those three things, you're good to go. But, you know, if you have just a lot of money and you don't have relationships and you don't have health, you don't have anything.
Do you
So-
think you need a lot of money?
What do you describe as a lot?
What does a lot mean, right?
I mean, what do you feel like is, hey, I reached to this amount in life and, like, I'm good.
Like, what
Like,
is that number in
what-
your head right now?
There's no number. It's whatever I feel comfortable with. That's the goal. Me feeling comfortable. It's
I
not like I
agree.
have to reach $300 million. Like, no, I have to feel happy.
I agree.
But you have to have a target.
I guess I'm too young for that.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, for me to feel comfortable, like, more than a million.
Nice Ferrari.
Yeah, more than a million or two.
That's a very difficult question because I feel the same way. It's not like I have a number. I don't have a number.
I just know.
I just
You're
want to
gonna know.
feel like I have enough money to take care of my family, to even be able to take care of, like, my parents. Like, where I'm comfortable, where I can take care of mine and even some. But it doesn't have to be, I don't have a number. I don't have a number.
Take care in what length? Like, how bad you, like, take care of them, like, they don't have to worry about nothing?
I would love to do that. Like my parents, because I know where my parents come from. My parents are very humble people from very humble beginnings. They don't know anything about finances. They've sacrificed everything for their kids. Like, if I look at my parents today being 33 years old and I'm like, my parents sacrificed everything. They don't
Coming to
know.
a foreign country.
Yeah, where they didn't know the language just to have a better life for them and their
That's why I
family.
have a lot of pride being American, because you know you can't go to nowhere else and like come from nothing. That's why like that's the problem with Gen Z, that they lost a lot of pride for America.
I agree. Wow, so you don't feel that way?
I feel proud. Yeah,
for sure. I feel the same way. You know, it's like I feel like we're not the perfect country. Like we have so many things to work on, but at the same time, I have so much to be grateful
There's
for.
people in other countries getting killed for speaking against the government. You could say whatever. You could say
Whatever.
fuck Biden, fuck Trump, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're going to wake up the next day.
Yeah.
In other countries, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Or even more extreme stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
I agree. I completely agree. I think sometimes, you know, the ignorance and the bliss, you know, like I'm glad to hear you speak that way, because the problem is that when you grow up and you've never suffered anything and everything has been given to you basically on a silver platter, and everything has been kind of smooth and saily for you, it's very easy to just stand up and whine about everything when you don't know where everything came from.
That's the problem.
So it's I'm proud to hear you say that.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
And before we go on, I just want to say that this episode is sponsored by Total Studio.
Total Studio, a studio located in Yonkers, New York, for creators by creators.
So for those of you who have a project coming up, whether that be a video project, a photo project, a campaign for a clothing line, a product line, we are all inclusive. We do video, photo, and if you have your own photographer, videographer, and you just need studio space, we can book us via Gearspace or shoot us a DM on Instagram
at Book Total Studio.
Back to the episode.
So I went into, your thoughts about how the internet has impacted your generation. You say it didn't really, you talked a little bit about how it impacted your studies in high school. How about socially? Because I feel like a lot of you guys are very to yourselves.
Antisocial social club.
Like, like for example, when you said about, your prom, right? And you, at some point you said you didn't want to go.
Yeah, right? I was like, it's whatever. Like, it's fine.
Which I get.
I'm
like,
lose a lot.
I don't need these hoes.
Which I get. Every kid doesn't necessarily have to want to go to their prom because, some people are more introverted and don't really like to be in settings of that type.
Yeah.
But it's like when I remember back in my high school days, like.
But you've always been a social bird.
Everybody was wanting to go to prom. Like, it was like the thing. Like, matter of fact, I started working part-time because I wanted to pay for all my senior dues because I knew my parents weren't going to pay for it. And I was like, I started working part-time at these stores because I wanted to, like, have the full-on experience and get the yearbook and, like, go on the limo.
But you were, like, different because you, at that point, you was, like, into modeling. So you was like, I want a nice dress and, like, prom queen.
Yeah, but okay, but this is where I'm going. Like
social.
I never knew this. I was too young. Yeah.
Yeah, you were for sure. I was.
I barely remember you working. Like,
It's that you were very little. You were a baby, and when I left mommy's house, you were still a baby. So we technically, like, we lived together.
Well, not really.
But he doesn't remember me living with him because we are 15 years apart in age.
What I do remember, ironically, is you moving out.
Really?
I remember.
How do you remember that? I'm curious.
I
don't know. Like, I just remember one day, like, there's, like, bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all I remember.
Wow. I can't believe you remember that day. But I'm curious now, like, how do you remember that day? Do you remember that day as being, like, a sad day, or do you remember it as just, like, oh, okay, she left? Like, how do you remember that day?
I was a little sad. I feel like as a child, like, I was kind of like, oh, whatever.
Your leaving was a little abrupt, too.
Or maybe you were, like, why she left? Like, I'm so curious now. Do you remember even?
I don't remember. I just remember that part. It was, like, dark. That day it was like gloomy, like party cloud.
Really? Yeah. Wow. Sometimes like you go through these things. Like, I was 21 at the time. And I think I've spoken about this before. Like, my mom was pretty strict. So, I was working at the time. I had already graduated college with my 2-year degree. And, I was preparing my mom for this day, but it was not easy leaving my house because...
Well, she didn't believe...
She didn't believe I was leaving, and that's why I left the way I did, because she was very like, "You're not leaving," and so I was kind of ready to leave. Mentally, I was ready, and so I kept like preparing my mom, like, such and such date, like I'm moving out, and she was like, "You're not going anywhere, you're not," and I'm like, "Mommy, I'm serious, like I'm leaving." Like he had already like asked for my hand and everything. He went to dinner at my house and asked for my hand. Do you remember that day?
No, not at all.
He did that. He went to the house, we had a nice dinner, and he asked for my hand. So we were engaged. And so yeah, I kind of left like that, and honestly, I don't think I even thought that it would affect you or that you would think about it, because you were so little that I didn't even think you would remember the day I left. But that's so we know, like kids are always watching, like they know what's happening, even if they don't entirely know what exactly is happening. They're there and they're observing. That's a very
that's
good.
why I'm always like, even with my nieces and nephews.
Nieces and nephews. You have
Nephews,
both.
Sorry. Like I'm always trying to like be nice and outgoing to them, because like the way how I remember, they're gonna remember
They
that.
are gonna
I'm always
remember.
like providing if they need me and stuff.
Yep, absolutely. So, like the socially, do you feel like social media has impacted you guys on a social level?
For sure. Whoever says that it hasn't, you're a liar, because it has. I mean, you see me when you would have parties and stuff. This is me all the time.
Just be scrolling.
Yes, for sure. But why? Like
It just gets awkward. I feel uncomfortable.
To be honest, this is my opinion. Back in the day, sure, like when I was a teenager, I had a cell phone already when I was like 15 years old. So I was still a teen, but I guess I had already passed like the 13, the 14 without a cell phone. And back in the phone I had when I was 15 didn't have a screen. And it wasn't like I had social media when I was 15.
It had a screen, bro. You wild. That's a beeper.
No, I had the Nokia.
It had a screen though.
Well, yeah, but not like this. Like I couldn't scroll on social media, is what I'm saying. And so it wasn't until I had the Psychic that I had AIM and I could like instant message like my friends. So I feel like because we didn't have our phones in this way, where it's like it's a TV now, we were forced to be social. Like if we were at a party, sure, we were the same. Like we weren't different than you guys. Like it wasn't like we were all social butterflies. It's just that when we were at a party, we eventually had to loosen up because we didn't have anything to distract us. We didn't have anything to like just put our head down and ignore everyone. We couldn't do that because we didn't have that.
This is actually turning like into a meme where like on social media, you're all like this. And then when the phone comes down, you're just back to like,
And
zero.
I feel in a way, I feel like that's sad. And it's kind of robbing Gen Z and future generations to come the opportunity to engage and be social.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when you're a teenager, that's when you learn. That is when you learn how to be social and be who you are going to be. That's when you decide, what is right for you, what is not. That's when you experiment.
The thing with social media or like phones or whatever, when I was little, I didn't have a phone, or like I was on my like dad's phone or something like that. Or let's say, I feel like I developed my social skills through school, going to the playground, playing, whatever. That's where I developed my social skills. But then after a while, you're more glued to your phone, hangouts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Because then the older you get, it's like you have permission to get a phone, and then you get the phone, and it's like, okay, now you have social media. Now you don't just have instant messaging to your friends. You have social media, and you have to watch everybody's life play like in front of your eyes. And I feel like it robs certain generations or the generations that are coming the opportunity of just living in the moment and engaging. And like you just never know what happens when you just interact with people and what this brings to your life. Like that is, for me, an important part of development.
And I feel like comparison is crazy right now, like for the young, because there's bro, there was, at least in the internet, there is a lot of young people making a lot of freaking money. So,
Yeah.
you know, even I don't even feel like back when we was like it was like now.
No, not at all.
I feel like a lot of people now want to make money just because they see someone else making money. Not for themselves.
Yeah.
But just because, I see whoever.
Yeah, they don't even question, like, is this really what I want? It's almost like, oh, this is what I should be doing. Okay, so let me do it too.
We're trained as, like, from little, you have to make money.
Yeah.
So
but it's also kind of good because, like, the age between, like, 18 to 30, let's say, is, like, when you should be taking the most risk when it comes to business.
Sure.
So it's like the point that they have all this information out there and they're acting on it early and they're making money, like, that's when you want to do it.
That's where I think is wrong because, sure, it might land on the eyes of a young adult, a teenager who is mature enough to take this information and not take it so personally. But then it might land on someone who may let's say, due to their circumstances at home or their mental health, might take this information and just say to themselves, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Because everybody is not meant to live that kind of life. You know, there's people who are perfectly content with living a simple life. And so if you haven't lived long enough to know this about you, you can take what you see online and translate that to, I'm not good enough. And that's where I think it's dangerous.
But then it's not fair to the kids that want to learn it.
I get it, but, you know, it kind of hurts, I guess, those weak-minded individuals who are still developing.
But that's a parental issue.
Damn, but at this point, is it really a parental issue? Because technology is everywhere. It's not even like you can ban your child from not seeing this.
Yeah, but you can also teach your child to be
strong-minded and independent and know who they are. Yeah, I guess I feel empathy for those who don't have that guidance.
Too, and I feel empathy for the people that need it.
And need the push.
Exactly. And like say, oh, no, we shouldn't be doing this because there's people that are sad over here.
That's true.
I feel like when a lot of times like that, I just like sit back and I just think to myself that, like, let's say for my photography, like, there's kids my age that are just like in their own world. They're not, but I'm already thinking about, okay, this is what I'm going to do, my business plan or whatever. So sometimes, like, I have to, like, slow myself down. I feel like that's where I gain, like, that toughness when it comes to, like, business, where I like, you know what, it's fine. You know, you don't have to overthink about it or, like, stress yourself out about it because, you know, you're still young. I feel like a lot of kids my age, they forget that they're young.
Yeah.
It's sad.
They're trying to rush too much.
And you started a company, right? Say the name of your company for everyone.
It's called Horology & Co.
Okay. So is the reason why you started that because you saw, like, the idea came from you seeing other people on social media and you was like, hey, man, I should start a business? Or was it, like, off of social media, you was just like, hey, this might be a good idea?
Actually,
like, where did it stem from?
Before this, like, before my photography and stuff, like, I never, like, looked at photography, like, or watched photography or whatever. I just, like, you know, like, one day I was doing push-ups in my room. That's where it came to my head. Hey, like, my friends have watches. I have watches. I'm into watches. Let's do something about it. You know.
And so what is the company? Like, what is the goal of the company? Your mission statement.
My ultimate goal is to sell watches.
Okay.
Take photography, but my mission statement is to, like, teach everyone the love for watches. You know, the love for photography, and that watches, like, they're not just a piece of gold or a piece of, like, steel on your wrist. They have story to it. That's what a lot of people don't realize, that they have a lot of story to it.
So are you using the photography for the marketing of the business, and are you tying it into it? Or, like, which one are you focusing on? Are you focusing on growing the business of watches to be able to sell watches, or are you growing the business of taking photos for watches? That's two separate businesses.
Yeah. For now, I'm thinking about the photography side, you know, focusing on my skills. So later on, when I do get a job, like, I actually got a job offer because of my photography.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, from my school.
Congrats.
I'm focusing on that, and then later on when I start getting money or I'm able to financially explore this more, where I'm able to sell watches, that's when, that's my goal right there.
Okay,
But
so for now, you're focusing on your photography skills on watches.
yeah, for sure.
But the ultimate goal is to grow a business where you can educate people on watches and sell them as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So product photography for the watches community niche. Okay. Just good to know,
Yeah. Are you going to eventually create a YouTube for your
I'm
watches?
thinking about it. Okay. Yeah. I'm really like, I'm exploring everything. I have a TikTok. I have an Instagram. YouTube later on. I feel like that's when it's best, in my opinion. Okay. Like, because there's a lot of ideas that I have. I have a lot of ideas. I just post a reel because I feel like reels right now, TikToks, that's what's popular. YouTube video, like, yeah, you might sit through it, but it's like you'd rather watch a tutorial on YouTube, but like those fast information, you want to watch it on TikTok or reels.
So why you don't put it on YouTube Shorts?
I don't know. Like YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Shorts is probably the most powerful of them all.
Yeah, because you're basically growing 2 in 1. You have your Shorts and your YouTube, but I'm taking everything slow right now. I only started like 6 months ago. Okay. So I'm really taking everything slow.
So but your Instagram account for it is horology.company.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to tell you what I tell
show him some support.
What I tell others that create content. We don't do it because our TikTok, for example, is way different than what we do on YouTube. Yeah. So like we have to be careful of the audience we bring here. But if you're creating content for a specific thing, there's no reason why you shouldn't be putting it on YouTube Shorts. I don't care if you recycle the same exact video on all
I
three.
See people that actually do the same video.
There's no reason why. Because one video could do well on TikTok and does shit on Instagram and YouTube, and one video could go viral on YouTube. So like you never know what algorithm is going to catch that video. Mm-hmm. And if you're doing the same thing across everything, like that's just your brand, you should be everywhere.
Well, you learn something new every single day.
So I know our audio platform, they're not going to be able to see, but do you want to show us some, what do you have there?
I brought some watches. Well, let's start off with the one on my wrist. Do you recognize this watch?
I don't know anything about watches, Eddie.
Do you recognize it?
Like I'm going to say it's your dad's watch.
Yeah, that is my dad's watch.
So our father, he actually gifted me this watch.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'm saying. That watches are more than just pieces
of jewelry. Little Rolly. No.
This is a nice Citizen, but like it's not anything expensive. Yeah. It probably cost him a few $100. Yeah. But
it's special.
Yeah, it's special. It has a meaning to it. That's what I'm saying about watches. That watches are more than just a piece of jewelry on your wrist. Let's say, for an example, when you get a nice watch, or you could get a nice watch, that's something that you're able to pass down to your kids. And then their kids are going to pass it down. It's a cycle. So, and there's not a lot of things where you're able to say, you know what, my dad gave me that, or my mom gave me that. You're right. There's not a lot of things like that. So it has a lot of sentimental value to it.
Yeah, absolutely. For women, it's like necklace and pearls and
the earrings sometimes.
Not only does it look nice, but it tells you the time or the date. So that's something that's really special.
I like mine. Usually mine's never.
I love how passionate you've gotten about this. It's very nice to watch.
So, want to pick one?
Do I get to keep it?
Whoa,
slow down there. Yeah.
I like these. I like this one. Damn, I don't know.
We could talk about it.
Because if I'm going to keep it.
I just want to take a moment to apologize to our audio audience. If you want to watch, just make sure to. Watches. Yeah, we're just looking at the watches. If you want to watch them or see what we're looking at, just go to our YouTube.
Want to watch them?
Pick one and we could talk about it. Or I could tell you some information about it. Or
let's talk this one because I know this one is like one of your favorites.
Okay.
The Omega
X watch.
Watch.
G-Shock,
G-Shock.
Yeah.
We created G-Shock.
That's a nice one.
Yeah.
So the story behind the Omega Speedmaster, actually, it's the first watch to go on the moon. If you did not know that, but
we didn't.
In 2020, I think they actually collabed with Swatch. So Swatch is like a budget watch, like $100 watch or $200. So Omega, I don't know if you guys know what Omega is. It's like a big brand.
Okay.
So they collaborated, and that broke the watch industry. That's why I have this watch every single time. It's one of my favorites because it broke the industry. It's something that I'm able to look at in the future, and that's like a piece of history on my wrist.
Oh, nice.
People that didn't know watches, they go up to me. Actually, in public, they go up to me. Oh, nice watch. Oh, I seen that watch on Instagram. I seen that watch before. Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. Like something so small on your wrist that most people look over it, they stop you for it.
How big is the hype on G-Shock still? Because when G-Shock first came out, it was like everybody had to have a G-Shock.
Yeah, I do remember hearing that.
Yeah.
That one that I have right there actually blew up. Like it's something that's really famous because I don't know if you know, but do you know AP, like Audemars Piguet?
Mm-hmm.
It has the same shape as it. So it's like a budget AP, but also like you're able to whack it around. It's not going to break. It's still going to, be intact.
So is Richard Mille overhyped?
Yeah. It is overhyped, but I like it. It's
He's
nice
like,
watches.
I like it. It's nice, but it's a little hyped.
Yeah. Everything.
So if you were able to get one watch,
we'll
to
watch.
say what watch would it be?
Like one watch forever.
Just like your goal.
My goal.
Richard Mille, Rolly.
Not a Richard Mille, but definitely Rolex, because I feel like Rolex is like the standard, the
It's
basic.
like a classic. Oh,
Armani
Rolex overrated.
Stay in your lane. Okay?
That's her son, by
That's
the
a
way,
different
Armani.
breed. 10-year-olds is a different breed. He's like, yo, Apple Watch is forever.
Oh my God.
Oh, you know Cartier?
What he knows about watches, you guys, I don't understand. Oh, he's being educated by his uncle. Okay.
My goal is the Rolex Yachtmaster and on an Oyster Flex. So it's basically like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a rose gold watch.
Okay.
It has a rubber band. Like most of my watches have rubber bands. That's something that I like.
Okay.
It's really comfortable. So my goal is something I could wear every single day.
Okay.
And it's pretty. It's a pretty watch.
So where do you see that your company in 5 years?
I definitely see us in 5 years as like a more photography based. And then later on, like after those 5 years, because I don't want to start a like watch selling and then it be shit. Like I want to start it and it be perfect. Even though perfect, you cannot, anticipate perfect. You cannot.
Only
always
Total
strive for
Studio is perfect.
Oh, please.
But I definitely see myself like working on it,
And you want to sell
So you
like
wanna
other brands, or you would just want to make your own watch and sell that?
no, I feel like the watch space is way too competitive to start your own brand.
Okay.
You guys know who's Dave Portnoy?
Portnoy,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
he started his own watch company, and
the guy from Barstools.
yeah, shit hit the fan. Shit hit the fan. Like,
It gets real quick.
yeah, ridiculing.
I
him.
mean, he can start it, and that's the thing with social media. If you build a powerful community, you can do whatever you want. If you build a powerful community,
Yeah, but I feel like you're already competing with the giants like Rolex, people that literally have, billions of dollars to spend on marketing.
But it goes back to my question earlier of when it comes to money, like how much, like what is success to you? Like if you start a company and that company, you started from zero, selling 0 watches.
Success to me is when you see, across the street and you're able to notice what watch is that because of the name or because of the way how it looks. Oh,
That
that's a
company-
Rolex.
That company has been successful.
That is successful. Like you're able to see a check like that. Oh, that's Nike. That's success to me where it's a household name.
A
Not-
recognizable
But why do you feel like you
brand.
can't compete with bigger brands?
Because like we're
But
talking about Rolex, and that's not something that I would want. I appreciate watches, but I also appreciate other people's watches.
Yeah, you just want to be the expert.
Yeah,
you want to be the expert on watches and be able to sell someone a watch and give them the history on that watch, which I think is great.
Yeah, like that's something that I catch myself doing, researching a lot. Like I'm always like, you know, what is this? What is that? Like I'm able to tell you that's the first watch that went to moon, Rolex. You know, like I'm able to tell you anything that you want to know. So that's something that I have a passion for.
That's great.
Research, you know, learning about.
It's also cool that if you're gonna get into like doing the photography for it, you at least know a backstory of what you're photographing, because that helps you build the set. If you're doing just a product shot for a certain item, if you are able to incorporate the story within that shot, it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
You can create a mood.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Everybody wants a Rolex for success. So we're gonna cut this off here because we're on 50 minutes already.
Yeah, this was a good podcast, good conversation.
I have a lot of editing to do. Back away. So where can people find you?
You can find me on horology.company on Instagram. Same thing on TikTok. I have a link on my Instagram, so you're able to find it easily.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you in our podcast, Eddie Vasquez, little brother. And that's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're here on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Leave us any questions. Yes, it was. Leave us any questions. If you have any questions for Eddie, leave them in the comments section.
Always DM me. My DMs are always open. Or even consulting. Like if you, hey, give me a nice watch for $100. I'm your man.
There you go.
Awesome.
If you want to buy a watch for your husband, just slide in his DMs.
Yep, you could definitely ask for his advice, his expertise. And that's it. Don't forget to follow and show your support. Don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we post a video. If you're on any of our audio platforms, don't forget to leave us your reviews. It really helps us out. That's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening.
Until next time.